Welcome to my playthrough of Fire Emblem 10 in Dawn. I'm USS Gordon Cap. So, this is going to be a fairly long video because I mostly improv this 3-6 clear. I didn't really have any plan. I think someone better than I, that team I have, but so Zihark, every time he gets attacked or attacks, will be showing animations. This is so we can see the hit rates of fights. One thing to note is the battle box does not show result hit rates. So every single time Zihark is fighting an enemy and he has resolve, you treat it as if that enemy had 30 less hit. Also, I don't have any supports enabled for Zihark. That could have easily increased his survivability by a good amount, especially Aran. I actually think Aran is better support for Zihark than Nolan a good amount of the time. Because if Zihark is in certain bulk thresholds, the most notable being is his 2-hit bulk is less than 7 above base. Aran will let you get to 7 above base, and that's a magic number, such that enemy cats plus an enemy tiger will not one-round you. Zihark is famous for being called Mr. 2-Code, and with a promotion, that isn't true anymore. So, he's famously Mr. 2-Code because he dies in 2 hits to a cat plus a tiger. And most notably with this, he'll die into a cat will hit him, and he'll be above half HP. Then a tiger will hit him and kill him. And this is known as like Mr. 2-Code, and one of the reasons I believe people hated Zihark. And so, if you promote him early though, and I mean I promoted him before the start of the map, but if you want to, other strategies could promote him after turn 2. You wouldn't double shove him like I did here. Instead, you would single shove him. So he would not fight a tiger upcoming that would kill him, increasing his survival odds massively. You'd give him the Brave Sword, and this would let him one-round enemy cats. As you can tell, Zihark, if he hadn't been promoted, would be able to one around these enemy cats with the L Sword, but a couple of enemy cats probably would survive, depending on how they roll on their defenses. So you would give him a Brave Sword to alleviate this issue. And you want him to be able to kill these enemies on enemy phase without fighting too many, because if he fights too many enemies, he just dies. What is it? So then, I highlight the enemy hit rates there. So the tiger has a hit rate of 40, and the cats have a hit rate of 60 or so, like 50 or so. And what's really important about this is that Zihark's not gonna die actually from 3 cats attacking him, as ridiculous as that sounds. He'll survive at exactly 1 HP. And so Zihark's reliability goes way up from this. You can tell 14 times 3 is in fact 42. But one of the cats actually rolls down on at his 12 strength, and isn't a roll, that is just he has 12 strength, so he won't die. Because 14 plus 14 plus 12 is equal to 40, which is in fact one more than 1. So he actually only has to dodge one of these 4 attacks rather than 4, which makes it a lot more reliable. This Zihark is about average as far as stats are concerned. Importantly though, since he doesn't have a support, he has Vantage. I figured it would be fair to give him Vantage. You get the Vantage scroll in the top in 1E in the top, so it's sometimes unreliable. You probably can't get it realistically in a 4 turn of 1E, but in a 5 turn of 1E you can. However, I suspect that if you're going to try to 4 turn 1E, probably also going to be able to get Zihark to have a support with Volug and send Volug to the left. One thing to know is Volug did very well this run, and I think if I like space my units out better, I could probably have put Volug on the left side or Soth on the left side, but in this case I would say Volug. So you could have support with Zihark, and Zihark would have significantly lower chance of death because he wouldn't be fighting so many Tiger Luke. This would make up for his lack of mana. So, one other thing to note is that the enemies in this map have transformed and untransformed, and most player units are actually very bad at killing tigers or transformed cats. The only 2 units in this map that are actually good at killing transformed tigers are Jill and Zihark. Soth is also okay at it. The 3rd unit in this map that's good at killing transformed enemies is Soth. He kills some transformed tigers without a much of a hitch, but Volug cannot kill transformed tigers. He has S-Strike, so he can kill transformed cats and untransformed tigers, but he cannot kill transformed tigers with his regular attack, making him significantly worse than you'd think. Jill has been given Beast Foe. Beast Foe Jill is, in my eyes, mostly mandatory. She just has so much better movement, and so she can cover a wider range of enemy area with her Beast Foe. The other users of Beast Foe are either hard to shove, like Nolan, or just aren't shovable, like Volug. Volug suffers from his not really being shovable problem quite significantly, since by not being shovable, he's not going to be able to kill enemy cats and enemy tigers before he transforms. He's also not really going to be able to transform very quickly. He has to double pass. So I kind of find Jill to be the strongest. Zihark is going to be taking on essentially the entire top side of the map himself. He's actually not able to get through and clear all the enemies. If I had like changed shove priorities, I might have been able to get Zihark to be shoved up one more square. This would have been really nice, because Zihark is, as it stands, unable to reach a certain enemy tiger quickly enough. And if I had placed Zihark in a different square, like if he was able to get to the reed tile to the north of him, one tile to the north, he would actually have been significantly faster at reaching the desired tiles, and probably could have killed significantly more Lagoons. But more Lagoons you have him fight, obviously the higher the risk is. And finding a good, reliable 6th turn of this map would revolve probably finding more danger. So here, I'm just looking at enemy tiger stats to see if Jill will survive 2 hits. I also start counting out, trying to remember whether or not I can place Jill and have it get healed by Micaiah. A Micaiah healing Jill is sort of like basically the thing that she's going to do the whole map, is just heal Jill and just to train. And the rest of my units do almost nothing. One of the big issues I have with the map is I definitely don't have most of my units doing at all. I think in a more optimized clear, could easily have had, say, Zihark kill something on turn 2 player phase, and I would have had more space to do more combat on enemy phase, because I would be able to get positions. That would have gotten Zihark more kills and made this clear probably a turn faster. It's just so hard, though, to improv a 6 turn of this map because the enemy quality is pretty high, and any positioning mistake, not thinking about like unit combat mistakes, like it's not so much about RNG that actually kills you in this map. Primary thing that's like really lethal about this map is that player units other than the big 4 kind of suck. So you have to just position your units in such a precise manner to just not get them killed. Whereas a unit like Leonardo, for example, is just so likely to die. And if you just forget your positioning and make an off by 1 error, your unit dies and you're... Normally I would just not bother resetting, but in a run like this, where I want to show off a strategy, it feels really bad to have a unit like Meg or Edward die in the middle of the map. Like, if I was doing this run sort of casually, I would just, like, let Leonardo. But since I can't, I will have to reset every time I screw up positioning and Leonardo or something dies. Here I get a very, very clean kill on a random enemy by Edward and plus Leonardo killing it. This Edward was at base because I wasn't really thinking about unit stats, but obviously most Edwards would be able to double that Tiger with the Khaled bulk, which actually does give them good and decent combat. So Laura using Torch Staff spam. Normally I would try to get Laura to be adjacent to Micaiah so they can both share the physics staff, but I actually struggled to do that. Because because the yellow units just keep getting in the freaking way. The yellow units get in the way, the enemies get in the way, blue units often want squares that Laura would take. It's just all a mess. Here are just like, what? Onto the ally phase. So, on this ally phase, and most ally phases, the basic objective for me is to hope that my units don't... that the allies aren't stupid and make my units die. The yellow units are so dumb. I actually have no idea how to, like, consistently control what the ally units do. It seems completely random what they do. Okay. So here's what I was talking about when I said that I could have possibly moved Zihark into a better position. Zihark's positioning right now is actually such that he will not be able to reach the top left-hand corner Tiger, except in a way that actually, like, significantly harms his ability to get into other positions. If instead I had moved somehow Zihark to a position where he could get to the read tile on the top left on turn 2, I don't know exactly how that would happen. He would be on the read tile, turn 2, and then he would have been able to move up 2 tiles on turn 3, and then on this turn, he would be able to fight the Tiger that he is literally 1 square away from fighting. That Tiger has weird AI, where he doesn't actually fight unless he's in range of you. And so getting to him is a massive pain. The other annoying thing is that Jill here has, like, very suspiciously bad bulk. And we need Jill to constantly kill this enemy player phase. because Jill's bulk is both extremely sus and very hard to manage. If Zihark had been obviously one square better, or I could have put Zihark like one square to the a few squares off where he is right now, he would have been in a better position. But again, practicing this map is a pain while recording, because you have to basically improvise the entire map unless you like have good fog of war hacks or something. This map is very long, has a lot of enemies, and has a really large amount of fog of war. So like identifying where all the enemies are and stuff is hard. Here I'm counting to see where Leth and Mordecai would attack Jill from. I know Leth is transformed on this turn, but Mordecai hasn't. So I will be able to fight Leth on this turn, and Mordecai will just sort of stay where she is. I identify that I can get Leth to fight Jill on this square. Now, if I remember correctly, in the Fog of War, in the bottom 2 squares below Leth, there's actually another enemy that would have attacked Jill had I put Jill in the location I wanted to put her at, which would have killed Jill. Jill is really iffy bulk-wise because of this. Volag here kills a Tiger. Obviously, Volag killing Tigers is only something you can do with S-Strike Volag. A-Strike Volag, you cannot do this. Laura finds a way to be useful, and one of the big problems I have with this clear has been just how little the Scrub Squad has done, probably because I don't know where to move them. It's one of the reasons why I believe that it would be fairly reasonable to get the 6th turn of this map. I was 4 units off of getting the 6th turn on enemy phase, and I can easily see Zihark killing 2 or 3 more enemies, and like better optimization of Scrub Squad getting 1 or 2 more enemies. I could also see like optimization of Soth or Volag's movement, allowing me to put them on the right, which would allow me to get more kills on enemy phase. Since Soth and Volag honestly did almost nothing this map relative to what they should be doing. There's that Tiger and there's the Tiger that would have killed Jill had I put Jill in the location I want to put her in. And Jill's bulk is extremely important to manage. Zihark is a little bit easier to manage bulk-wise, since he's more dodge tanking oriented. But he still obviously has dodge tanking problems. So this Tiger has 60 hit on him. And 60 hit is a lot of hit. But with Resolve, that's 30 less. And if you had like C support with Nolan, and we're able to put Nolan in a square that was like 3 tiles away, you could easily get Zihark to have way more avoid than he actually did that turn. Okay, there I demonstrate that Jill cannot one round with the Brave Axe. So yeah, this is the like Micaiah is kind of stuck to Jill thing. Depending on Micaiah's like magic stat, you get Micaiah to heal Jill for more or less. And Micaiah actually has 3 move in this stupid swamp. And this is when I realized that I made a terrible error. Because Zihark, if Zihark had been in range of this Tiger on the previous turn, I would have been able to retreat Zihark from this square that he's currently on 2 squares to the right. And then on the next turn, he'd be able to be adjacent to the island. And when you're adjacent to the island, Lagoos have a lot more movement and are a lot easier to hit you on enemy phase. It's a lot easier to get enemy Tigers to actually attack you if you're on the island. As you can tell, enemies are there's just not a lot of enemies on the map anymore, and you have to like hunt for them. And I did a really bad job at hunting for Lagoos arc. you could like put Zihark's location in a like better position, I bet Zihark could get a lot more kills on it. Especially if he had like Volag or Nolan supporting him, which would give him a lot better avoid. But unfortunately, in this save file, I didn't have Nolan C support, but I did have Volag B. So I could have done Volag. So here, I look at the enemy Tiger and go, okay, that Tiger is actually tough enough that Mordecai would kill. Mordecai plus that Tiger is very close to killing Jill. So I couldn't be in range of that tiger. Can't. No, that was a cat. That's why I was so scared, because it was like, isn't that a tiger? But no, it was a cat. So that cat would not kill Jill when combined with Mordecai and Leth, so I wasn't safe. For some reason, I thought that was a tiger in the middle of the recording. That was a whoopsie. Cats have the white hair. Tigers don't. Just like confirming Mordecai doesn't kill me, because this is one of those things that's, I guess if you play Fire Emblem a lot, you memorize, but I just like constantly check enemy stats over and over again to make sure I'm not gonna get killed by one of them. Okay, so you can see that if Zihark was able to be like a couple squares to the right, I probably would have been able to get Zihark to have a decent amount more enemy next upcoming. Okay. So enough talking about bad Zihark position. Talk about more enemy phase. We have ambush spawns, which are actually good for this map, because if ambush spawns weren't a thing, it would be really hard to 6-turn this map. So here's Vantage doing Vantage things. One of the reasons you give Zihark Vantage is because he has about a 25% chance on any given enemy phase to just delete the enemy he fights. Which is quite massive when you're talking about a unit who has only like an 80% chance of dodging, so it increases his defensive benchmarks actually quite a bit. Alright. Now it's time for Mordecai versus Jill. The battle of the ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny, where Mordecai just gets one. Another alternative is to have that tiger in the top left-hand corner just never fight any player. Because if you actually look at the distribution of enemies on the map, you don't technically, if I remember correctly, need Zihark to fight every single one of them. You just need him to fight the majority. Here, I didn't realize that the cat on the left actually de-transformed on this turn. So I needed to have Zihark be in range of that cat a turn early. Alright, so Jill's gonna be able to kill Leth hopefully this turn, and then from there we're gonna see just how close I got to getting the 4-turn. Sorry, to getting the 6-turn. Here. You can see that excursion to the corner to fight the tiger probably cost me a good amount, because I could have been on the island and or adjacent to the island, and the island is a lot more likely to get enemies to attack you, because on the island tiles, especially the reed tile in the top left, that's like one of the best tiles to be on. Zihark would be able to fight a lot of enemies, since enemy Lagoos have really good movement on the island. They'd be able to just walk up to Zihark much more We have Soth like just poking these cats. And Nolan, for example, did nothing the entire map. And I think one thing I could try to optimize is like just finding things for units that aren't really good to. Maybe they just don't do anything though, because honestly, like one of the things I noticed is that the more I had my bad units do combat, the more likely I was to screw up and just let a player unit. So maybe it's better if the good units just don't do, bad units just don't do it. And like I just do all my combat with good. So here we see one of the flaws of Resolve Zihark, which is that when you don't have your support with you, your probability of getting hit goes up dramatically. If you have double Earth B support on this map, the odds that Zihark actually gets hit and die is actual 0.00%, because as you saw, the Tiger has 56 hit on him. With Resolve, that goes down 52 hit. With Resolve, that goes down to 22. With double Earth B support, that goes down to 0. So enemy hit rates just go, kaput. But finding a way to get like double Earth B or double Earth C even to like be adjacent to Zihark is an interesting challenge that I wasn't really prepared to do yet. And now we see that I was 4 enemies off. So the 4 enemies I was off were the enemy in the bottom right-hand corner, and the 2 Lagoos in the top left, and the 1 Lagoos adjacent near Jill. But we just kill all the Lagoos. So one of those was Leonardo's kill, pretty much obviously, but one of those was Zihark's kill. At least one of those was Zihark's kill. And one of those was Jill's kill. So, time for Zihark to kill this last remaining. And end the map in 7 turns. I think this map, it could easily be done in 6 turns, obviously, with a more optimized like practice and better strategy. But finding a good 6-turn clear would require a lot of planning and preparation. Whereas a 7-turn clear can just be completely freeloaded or freestyled. Also, like, optimizing reliability on this map would probably entail giving Zihark double Earth B support in the map itself, because multiple enemies, as you saw, Zihark would have 60 some odd hit against. Then with Resolve, that would go down to 30, and then with double Earth B, that would go down to 0. And on a read tile, this would mean that the enemies that rolled up on Biorhythm would also have 0. So he would be completely invulnerable. Alright, thank you for watching my video. I'll see you guys later. Bye!